Well, hi everybody. It's good to see you. I hope yous are well. Won't you pull you up a chair and set a spell while we talk about the Appalachian boy that learned a lesson in humility? Deep in the mountains of Kentucky lived a small family by the name of Johnson. They lived in a coal mining town where Mr. Johnson worked. Mr. Johnson was a God-fearing man who loved his wife and his daughter, but sadly he passed in a mining collapse, leaving his wife and daughter all alone. Mrs. Johnson found work, but it wasn't much. The coal mining company put them out of their home, so they had to move in to an old abandoned cabin. The town folks made sure they had food so they never went hungry. Well, one day during the hot summer, all the kids were out swimming in the creek, and the town preacher was fishing just upstream, but within earshot of them. They were just having a good old time. Then all of a sudden, he heard crying, and it was getting closer to him. He looked up, and here come Widow Johnson's daughter, just bawling her eyes out. The preacher got up, went up to her and hugged her and consoled her. When she stopped crying, he said, "What's the matter, baby?" And she told him one of the boys was making fun of her. He said, look at her swimming in cut-off jeans and a t-shirt, not like the other girls wearing swimsuits." See, the girl didn't have a swimsuit or much clothes for that matter, not even a pair of shoes. Times was tough for him. Well, that made the old preacher mad, and you could tell. Fire was in his eyes and steam was coming out of his old ears. He made his way over where the other children was swimming, and a little girl was underfoot behind him. When he got to him, he said, "Which one of you rascals made fun of this girl for not having a swimsuit?" And all the kids gasped, and not a peep was smoking. Well, the little girl pointed the boy out. The preacher told him, "You step forward, young man." Made him apologize to her and told him he had to go through what her and her mama went through. He would never make fun of her again. The boy thought he was through, but he was wrong. That preacher took his belt off and tore that boy's tail end up and then made him go home, that he wasn't welcome to swim for the rest of the day. Shortly, the boy arrived home where his mama was shelling beans for dinner on the porch. She asked him what was he doing home and said, "Hey, why you been crying?" He wouldn't dare tell her what he did. Here, a few minutes later, the preacher come walking up. The boy was hiding behind his mama as she greeted the preacher. She said, "Hello, preacher. To what do I owe this honor?" He said, "Well, I guess I had to explain myself." She said, "Explain yourself or what?" He looked at the boy and said, "Well, didn't he tell you?" The boy didn't speak. She said, "Boy, what have you done now?" It's mighty bad if the preacher has to visit Again, the boy didn't dare speak a word. The preacher told her what happened, and he told her he was sorry for whipping him without her permission, but it just flew all over him and he couldn't help it. Well, she thanked the preacher for what he had done and said if he needs it, you get him. Well, that mother turned to the boy and tore him up again and told him that he was working all summer to raise money to buy that poor girl some clothes, some shoes, and even a swimsuit. He owed her that much for the bad, sinful deeds he did. See, in Appalachia, if you done something you wasn't supposed to when your mama wasn't around, someone else saw you, they tore you up and then told on you when you got it again when you got home. Folks, I do appreciate you sitting and listening to me tell the story of the boy who learned humility. See, some of us have a lot harder times than others. You just can't tell it. Appreciate you listening. Love you to pieces. And I'll see you next time.